Hey guys, Ashley French here. Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, this is gonna be part one of our camper renovation. So about 6 months ago, we did purchase a 2021 Forest River Cherokee Wolf Pup. It's like the perfect family size camper, and although it was in great shape, of course we wanted to give our own spin on it and give it a renovation. Basically just getting it painted, adding some design to it, and making it our own. Now, what we didn't anticipate is all of the hurdles we would face with this project. Now, we're DIYers. We've bought and renovated 3 homes. We've painted it all. We've seen it all. We've done it all. So we didn't think this was going to be a very difficult project. So, of course, to our surprise, we hit a lot of roadblocks. So in this video, I'm going to show you some of those roadblocks we hit and hopefully show you what not to do if you're planning on doing a camper renovation. This video is going to be part one, so make sure you subscribe so that you can catch part two, which hopefully will be the finished renovation. So the very first thing that I wanted to do in this camper renovation was paint all of the interior walls a bright white. I just felt like this wallpaper that was in here kind of gave it a mobile home look, and I just wanted to lighten and brighten it. So the very first thing I needed to do was to remove everything that was attached to the walls. So I started with these valances above the windows. I removed the blinds, and then I did move on to the trim work that was around the dinette table, and I was able to get everything off, marked of where it came from in case I decided to use it again later on. I grabbed 3 baggies and I just marked them, 1 for the blinds, 1 for the trim, and 1 for the cabinets. I wasn't sure at this point what I'd be keeping and reusing and what I'd be replacing, so I just wanted to make sure that I kept all the original hardware in case I did decide to reuse some of the items that I removed. Then I started to remove the cabinet doors. I do have plans to paint all of the cabinetry in the camper, and so I needed to get those doors off. And as I removed them, I would just use a piece of painter's tape and mark which door it was so I could keep track of which doors belonged where. Then in preparation to paint, I did want to get everything taped off since I was planning on using a paint sprayer in here to paint the walls. So I just used this Indasa cover roll, which you guys can see was really easy. I really love this stuff. It has the tape already on the edges. So you apply it, you pull the plastic out, and just tape that down. So I got all of the windows taped up, the outlets, and a lot of the appliances and different items in the kitchen that I didn't want to get paint on. And then next I used a TSP solution, which is basically like a heavy duty cleaner and degreaser. And I used that and basically scrubbed down all the walls and surfaces in the entire camper that I planned to paint. And then once that was dry, I set up my paint sprayer and I got inside and started to paint. So now I got my paint sprayer all set up and ready to go, and this is really where my problems started. I had my ventilator on, my goggles, my hair was wrapped up, I was ready to go, and I started spraying. And really within maybe like 30 to 60 seconds, the whole camper had filled up with a paint fog, and I was having a very hard time seeing what I was doing. And instead of stopping, I continued to paint, and I really did not know if the paint was going on thick enough or too thin, or if it was running. And clearly from these videos, you can see that the paint was running really horribly. I think that it was a combination of the paint coming out of the sprayer too fast and too thick, and then also me probably spraying it too slow and going over the same spots a couple times. I should have mentioned this earlier, but this is the paint that I used in my paint sprayer. It is a primer and it's really great for sticking to different kinds of surfaces. As you can see, this paint did come highly recommended as what I should use on the walls of the camper as a primer. And so at the end of the day, I just think that I had really bad luck with my paint sprayer. I never have luck with it. I did follow the directions, and we can see how that turned out. So in addition to the paint running on the walls, as you can see, it also beaded up on the cabinet, which really surprised me because although I don't have video of it, I did give a light sanding to all the cabinets, and then I used the TSP solution, and the combination of those two removed any kind of glossy, slick surface on the cabinets. So I thought the paint would go on nice and smooth. What I think happened is I go back to thinking that my paint sprayer just had too much coming out of the nozzle. I don't think that it was a fine mist, and which would make sense of why it was running on the walls also. So the paint sprayer was a huge fail, and I ended up having to then go back into the camper once the paint dried. I had to use my orbital sander, and I sanded all of the walls to get the actual like runs that you could feel sanded down. And then I ended up painting the entire inside by hand with a brush and a roller. So if I could go back, I would not have used the paint sprayer at all. I would have simply just used a brush and roller and just skipped all of these issues that I had to deal with from using the paint sprayer. This is the paint that I used on the walls when I rolled them and brushed them. So this is the final top coat. And I just went with Sherwin Williams color called Pure White. And it left a really great finish. I was really happy with this paint. And don't worry, because the issues did not stop there. Once the paint was dry, I went back to remove the tape around the windows and the outlets, and that wouldn't come off either. I'm assuming because of the multiple layers of paint between the primer that I sprayed and then me actually coming back and painting it with the roller and the brush, it was just too thick. And as you can see from that video, it was just shredding off in like these teeny tiny pieces. I had to use a razor blade. I had a combination of a razor blade, and I was even using tweezers to get it out from underneath everything. So in conclusion, if I could do this all over again, I would not have taped everything off, and I would not have used a paint sprayer. I would have just used an edging brush and been very careful about edging everything in, and then just rolled the rest with a paint roller. Now, you guys want to stick around, make sure you're subscribed, because in part 2 of the camper renovation, I'm going to be painting all of the cabinets. I'm going to be adding some really cool design features. I have a backsplash that's going to go behind the sink, and I have a wallpaper that's going to go on a little feature wall in the camper, and we have a lot of other fun stuff planned. It's going to be really awesome. We're going for like a coastal design style since we live in Florida. So I hope that you guys will stick around and be on the lookout for the camper renovation part 2.